I'm sure you've heard the lame brain slogan, "Make America Great Again," until you're sick to death of it. I know I am. Even the people who coined it must be too, because they mostly just use the initials, MAGA, pronounced MAGA, like a demented mantra. You'll notice, though, they never bothered to define just when this magical golden age we're supposed to return to actually took place. The short answer, of course, is never. The simple fact is, this country has never been great for everyone all at once. Oh, it's always been pretty good for upper class white people, but back when the country was just getting started, there was hardly any indoor plumbing, and the pinnacle of medical science involved leeches, so even they weren't doing all that great by today's standards. But eventually they got their mitts on pretty much everything, and everyone else was forced to work in their mines, mills, and factories, and on their ranches, farms, and plantations for whatever they wanted to pay, which in some cases was nothing. Probably, though, the time the MAGA folks are referring to was a 25-year period between 1948 and 73 when what we think of as the middle class was being created. Thanks to unions and the improvements put in place by the Roosevelt administration, many more people were able to dare to dream the American dream. The period still wasn't great for minorities and women as individuals, but things were looking up. In short, most households were finally able to generate and accumulate wealth. The majority were by no means rich, but a good portion of them were no longer worried about the wolf coming to the door. During this 25-year period, generally speaking, a household with one income could afford to make payments on property that increased in value each year as their equity in said property also increased. Usually it was a family home, but it could be a farm, a business, or an income property. As these initial property owners passed on, they transferred that accumulated wealth to their heirs, and upward mobility continued into the next generation. This state of affairs should have been welcomed by all, but an offshoot of the economic stability was better education and increased leisure time, both of which allowed the formerly downtrodden masses the ability to finally start to flex their political muscle and demand a bigger piece of the pie. Rich folks were very disturbed at this turn of events and set about throwing a wrench into the works. They got their opportunity in 1973 when the U.S. was hit by an embargo by Middle Eastern oil producing nations, which caused a recession and the interest rates soared. This situation was made worse when the Federal Reserve bungled the response to the economic downturn and bought into bogus new economic theories engineered especially for the occasion, which held the best way to fix the economy was to cut taxes on corporations and rich people. So beginning in 1981, the tax burden for funding the country was transferred from the wealthy to the middle class, resulting in greater and greater economic inequality. The London School of Business did an extensive study on this, and their conclusion was when you cut taxes on the rich, you get richer rich people. That's it. That's the only benefit. So the rich used their newly increased wealth to buy up radio, TV, cable, newspapers, and social media, as well as the pulpits, to sell the message to the sheep that putting the wolves in charge is the very best policy imaginable. They've been very successful in flipping the narrative. Now black is white and up is down. The Democrats who brought about the semi-golden age the MAGAs longed for to begin with are now demonized, while the Republican Party, the very people who took the dream away, are celebrated as saviors. You want to make America great for the first time? Stop trying to roll back all the social progress of the last half of the 20th century and tax the rich. In other words, in the next election, vote blue. From the bottom of the ballot to the top, from the dog catcher to the president, vote blue. That's the only way it will happen.